Well, and it has to be fun to work on projects like that where you get to get super creative and have fun. Like, how did you even fall into marketing?
So I've kind of family business. My family's been in the marketing and software business since, oh goodness, probably the mid 90s. I started working for my family's business in 99. And so we were in the web development and web marketing side of the world. And so that was when the web was kind of early, and we started developing out things for, we worked on the Hard Rocks website. We worked on the first canneries website. We did a lot of marketing that involved that, and for those guys, like doing email campaigns and messaging campaigns and things like that. Email campaigns really, because there was nothing more than that at that time. So that's kind of how I felt into that side of things. It was family business. So
Yeah, so you've been doing it for like 30 years almost, right?
I've been doing it for about 27 years.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of one of those things where I did a lot of digital, and then I was like, I kind of need a break. And so I went to work for different companies that were in the marketing space, but just outside of just like an agency side of things. And so I'd go work for those companies and do really well for them, work for, local brands, always usually a small brand. I did work for the RJ for a minute. I'm not a huge, big company fan. All the ideas they had, it was probably 2009, 2010. And all the ideas they had, we had already done like 11 years before that.
Yeah. Big companies take a while to catch on.
Yeah.
And, for doing it for such a long time, what have you seen change? Like what have you seen change, and what have you seen been consistent over the years? Has there been anything that's been consistent in marketing?
Yeah, the branding is probably your most consistent thing, where you've got to just maintain a solid brand, and brand is really what drives the business. With the technology changes, where the messaging goes, how the messaging gets to the person has definitely changed. We went from more flyers and stuff in the late 90s, early 2000s. And email marketing became a thing, early 2000s, and really rode out for a long time. And then we had, you had Google Ads that got introed. I can't remember what year. I think it was early 2000s as well. And so the messaging became more digital, and SEO became very, very popular. But, as Google got smarter on the SEO side of things, the brand is what actually just kind of kept everything together. Most of our searches and most of everything that you see when you go check the analytics, it all goes back to the brand name is always number one. For the newer brands, we've been able to help people, show up number one for different keywords, and keywords on the SEO side and keywords on the PPC side. But if you build a strong enough brand, it's always kind of stayed consistent.
What advice would you give a company that is trying to build their brand, or maybe they've been fumbling throughout years? Like, how do they figure that out? Like, how do they develop a brand that stands out and is true to them?
That's the eternal question, right? They always look for what's my brand, and I can't tell you how many rebranding exercises I've been through where you're like, they think they have a brand, the owner says they have a brand, and then the owner decides to change the brand, right? And that's kind of one of the biggest things that they do is changing the brand to try to find what their voice is, especially as the companies grow. It goes back to, I think, what you and I were chatting about. It goes back to the consistency. Figure out who you are and what you do, and then build your brand around that, and then keep the consistent messaging. And you can tweak it every few years, but everybody knows I'm loving it because McDonald's has built that into our brain for so many years. And it has nothing to do with food, right? But it does have to do with, you hear I'm loving it and you think of McDonald's. So just keeping that brand messaging solid throughout and not changing it every year. You can tweak it. You can kind of develop the messaging a little bit differently, And don't be afraid to try something, but don't revamp your whole brand mentality or your brand. Don't revamp your whole brand. Make iterative changes to it and build different campaigns and try out what works for your brand and then ride that for a while. A good example is Progressive or even Geico. Geico has they had the caveman for a while, right? Wasn't that them? That was them, right? And then now they have the gecko, but then they have other things that involve Geico that are different outside the gecko, and they keep trying different things, but they keep the gecko's been consistent. So they've been able to build that consistency in the brand, and every time they see a gecko, they know it's Geico, and but they're not afraid to try a little on the side. So brand consistency, really.
Yeah. What do you see that most businesses get wrong when they're trying to build a brand? Is it just the inconsistency? They're just constantly throwing everything at the wall?
Yeah, really, it is throwing everything at the wall. There's not the consistency in the brand, and there's not the consistency in the messaging of what they do and who they are to the person they're trying to reach, right? And that's one of the biggest things is who are you trying to reach, and how are you reaching them? That's honestly the biggest thing I see is just throwing everything at the wall and hoping something sticks and not having a plan. Once they have a plan and they follow it, and they're not a month and a half in, and somebody comes in and says, we got to change the whole thing because they saw something on a billboard, right? But do the research, then focus on building the brand, and then ride that out for a while, year. But you can always tweak along the way, but don't do any major rebranding.
Yeah, I was having a conversation, kind of like a round table with a few marketers the other day, and I was talking about like how I think one of the biggest struggles businesses face when it comes to marketing is that they're just constantly chasing the trends, right? Oh, everybody's doing this, so I'm going to do this, or everybody's doing that, and I'm going to try that. And it's one of the things, like I've been doing videos now for 21 years professionally, doing business videos for 21 years, actually.
Wow.
And so before businesses were even doing videos, right, like which was always an awkward conversation back then. They're like, we don't need videos. Why would we need a video? I'm like, got to tell your story. And I've always said the same thing. Like, I don't follow trends. Like in the film world, I don't follow the trendy edits or whatever. We're here to tell a story. We're here to connect with your audience, which is your potential customers. My goal is to help you build a relationship with them so they have trust. Now, if you want to have like fun little dances and stuff here or there, that's fine too. But like overall, we need to stay consistent on just building relationships with people, because people are going to buy from the ones that they trust, and trust is built over time. And if we're constantly changing everything, then we show that we don't know who we are. And if we don't know who we are, right? It's like being in a relationship. If you're dating someone and one day you're really chill, the next day you're really extreme, the next day you're this, like they don't know who they're trying to date and be with. And I think like every time I try to explain to like a client of ours, I'm like, we're basically dating, right? We're dating. And so we have to be consistent. We have to show up and see if we're a good fit for each other.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. You hit on the head with dating and trying the different things, and bipolar branding, can really cause problems. It does. It really comes back down to what you said, the basics of, telling the story, and telling the story in a way. You hit it on the head. I don't even need to add to that. So,
for you, what's been maybe one of the funnest projects that you got to work on? Was the one that we were kind of talking about?
Yeah, that was a really fun one. I was kind of in-house with them for a while, and one of the most fun projects was basically Chef Rubber was a very fun business to work for, and the project was basically. Do you want me to? I can go over it again.
Yeah, let's walk through it, because we got like a piece of it. So
okay, so basically what it was we sold products to chefs and pastry chefs, right? And we wanted to expand into catering, and we wanted to still relate back to the pastry chefs. And so we ended up getting this small plasticware in all these different sizes. And you've seen it when you go to like pastry shops and things like that, where you'll buy a little custard or you'll buy a little thing on a little plate, right? And so we decided to bring that product in and at the same time expand into catering. And a lot of caterers were becoming this was 09, 2010. Business was tough at that point too. But caterers were getting more, not verbose, what's the right word? They're getting more decorative and they were getting more interesting with what they were catering. It wasn't just meat and potatoes, right, out of a tray. So we started selling this plasticware to the caterers and then also fulfilling the current market that we had. And so we took and we broke up all this plasticware, and we made a girl in a dress. And we did a high fashion shoot, and we took high fashion and applied it to pastry world and the catering world. And so it made it unique and different, where we put an ad actually in the catering magazine, which is called Cater Source. And that became very popular. People were kind of looking at it like, what the heck do they do, right? So we got a lot of traffic from that at the time. And then we sent out email blasts and everything like that as we kind of grew things. This was obviously a long time ago. And then we grew that into a story, not intentionally originally. The story came about after that. And so we did have the girl in the dress. And the next ad was basically the same girl in her dress after the party, in a different dress, laying around a pool, and it's covered in plasticware. And we had the pool boy in there cleaning up the plasticware, and he was unique. He was a strong-built guy, and he had high heels on, and her high heels, red high heels to match her dress. And she's leaning over, a little hungover from the night before, and he's cleaning the plasticware out in a man. What's the right word here? Not a mankini, but something like that. And he's to the side, and he's a very well-built guy. And I got more traffic and more people asking about that than anything else, because the women were part of our target market with the cake decorators and stuff like that. And they wanted to meet the guy because he was a good-looking dude. And then the next campaign we had her as a high fashion model in a rain, like it's raining plasticware. And that one went over okay, but then we continued on the story with her marrying the pool boy. And the pool boy is covered in cocoa butter that looks like a tux, and she is wearing a plasticware dress. So we tied it back around to that campaign from the original one, and she's now in a wedding dress made of plasticware. And so that was pretty fun. We got a lot of traffic, a lot of people talking about that, and it wasn't even her anymore. It was just a mannequin, because she had become too big of a model that she didn't want to do our stuff anymore. So we were going to find someone else, but we decided a mannequin was going to work, and we were a unique enough, kind of quirky enough company that it worked for our brand. A lot of our brand was built around very high fashion, applying to catering and pastry chefs. And if you get into that pastry chef world, they're a very unique group, and there are a lot of artists in it. So you find that high fashion did appeal to them. And then some on the catering side, they thought it was really cool. And then some guys came up to me and go, "What do you guys do?" And I was like, "Great. We had a conversation. Like, let's talk, you wonder." And so I'm happy I got some negative from it, to be honest, which I was happy about the negative, because like, sweet, you're actually paying attention. And I got some positive from it. And then I got people going, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "That's great. Let's start the conversation." So pretty exciting, fun stuff.
I love that. Well, and the takeaway, I think, from that too, what you were just talking about, right? Like, it almost doesn't even matter what you do. Mm-hmm. When it comes to marketing, you're going to get negative responses, mm-hmm. right? Like, you can make content about you can make content online about how your company saves puppies every year from quicksand. I don't know. And people will give you hate for that, mm-hmm. So like, that's part of like when you're growing your business and you're doing marketing, especially as like a solopreneur, right? Where mm-hmm. you're the one doing everything, so you see it all. Yeah. We always tell people, like, you have to ignore the hate. Like, you could be doing the best good in the world, mm-hmm. and people are still going to give you hate online for it. Mm-hmm. But you're not creating for them. You're creating for the people whose lives you can touch, whose lives you can help. It's funny because like we put out content, and most of it's like educational content. Mm-hmm. Where we talk about like, for us, our big opinion with like podcasting is views don't matter. we don't care about growing a channel. Like if you're a business, especially a service-based business, and you start a podcast, we're really only trying to connect with a small subset of people because those are the people we can help, right? Our audience is our potential customer. We don't care about getting millions of views. I care about if I got 30 views and they're all my ideal clients and I can help them and it leads to a few conversations that leads to clients, like this is more valuable than people in different countries watching our content. And I don't even know where I was going with this. What was I saying? Oh, about like the negativity and stuff, right? So you're creating for the people whose lives you can change. And it's important that you create and don't let the hate messages stop you because you do make a difference, right? Especially if the business that you have actually changed lives, which really realistically, I think most businesses are that way, right? People got into their business, especially service-based business, because they're really good at something and it makes a difference in somebody's life or somebody's business. Marketing doesn't really change, like we were talking about, right? Like this, the messaging, the branding, that doesn't really change over time of who you're helping and the way that you, and the way that you tell that. But the method that you get that message out there does change over time. Recently, there's been a shift in marketing where we went from SEO, which is so important, to AEO. I know that you've been posting a little bit about AEO. Can you kind of dive into that? Like, what is AEO for the businesses that don't understand what that term is? And, you know, what should businesses be looking out for? Or how do they kind of start leveraging this?
Yeah, that's funny. You mentioned that on the negative side real quick, going back to that, you know, negative videos gets more hits and more love than the positive ones. And in neutral ones get more than the positive ones. And one more thing on your reaching your target audience in relation to AIO. AIO, I'll get into the details of that, but what we're finding right now is search volume is down on our sites, but the conversion rates are down as well a little bit, but overall the client acquisition is up. So I think what AIO and what the AI is doing is helping find, and we're helping with it as well, as helping find that exact customer they're looking for, not having 1,000 views, but having those 10, 20, 50 views that of the people that they need to help and of the people they need to reach. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of the work we're doing now. Is I just had a conversation today with one of our clients where I told him the algorithm's changed. His traffic is down. He goes, but my quality is through the roof right now. I said, awesome. That's what we want. Again, like you said, you don't care about watching somebody in a foreign country for a small business that's in Las Vegas. Like nobody cares about that. What we care about is the guy we're going to help here in town or the guy we're going to help in the U.S. if that's our base. So, and that's what I'm finding partially with AIO. And AIO is, everybody has a different name for it right now. And I think we're going to flush out the name here soon. But some people call it GEO, and some people call it AIO. Some people say, and people are like, hey, what'd I find it on ChatGPT? You know, that's kind of more the search of what they're going to look for. And so AIO, GEO, SEO, they're all kind of working together right now, but basically showing up on AI search, which is ChatGPT, which is Google's Gemini, or really it's at the top of Google's search, showing up there, showing up on Claude, which Claude is starting to gain some traction out in the world. A lot of us in the marketing world understand Claude, know Claude, but I will say this. I talk to people outside of the marketing world, and not many of them know what that Claude is. In the writing world, they do, and in the marketing world, they do. In the programming world, they do, but the general public still hasn't adopted Claude. They all know what ChatGPT is, and ChatGPT has kind of dominated the conversation. And so if you use ChatGPT and you use Google search, I don't want to mix it up between it. You have Gemini, which is their search, which is their AI search tool, or an AI tool where you can chat with it, but they're really integrating that more into search on AIO, on the AIO side. So we optimize sites to basically show up in Google search and in ChatGPT and in all the AI search tools that are out there. And we've had to fundamentally change how we write content. Our content isn't now FAQ based. FAQ based content has been the thing for SEO for a long time, and they're getting rid of it. And basically, FAQ is the frequently asked questions that people are looking for, and that would help us show up in the top. With this AI tool that they've been, with the AIO, they've had to switch, and it's getting a lot smarter on the search side, and it's making every sentence have more value than just having 10,000 keywords in an article, right? We know, you might be old enough, I don't know. The keyword stuffing was what we used to do, is put a bunch of keywords in there and make it work, right? And now with AIO, it's becoming more like every sentence matters, especially when you're giving somebody an answer to a question. And so the big thing that we've been focusing on is getting answers to questions and making sure that all the content is of high quality. And so you're getting more high quality content, and the users that are coming in off of AIO, we're seeing it at a much higher quality user. So you may not get the clicks as much, but you're going to get higher quality users. I hope that explains it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get too technical. So
yeah. So, we recently changed our website, rewrote it all. We actually used Claude to help it write it. I was like, help me write it so you can find me.
Yeah.
And it did a good job. Obviously, you have to make tweaks, and because it's not the best, but it's a good start. And it's crazy because within a week of us making that change, we had 2 bookings from people finding us on ChatGPT and Claude.
Yeah.
And when I looked in ChatGPT before, like we weren't even in the list. And so it worked pretty fast, which was kind of crazy to me. And since then, we've had a few more people book us from it. And yeah, I agree with you. I think people who are searching in ChatGPT or Perplexity or in Gemini, I think their intent is higher. And so I think they convert better. And then, like, we just recently picked up a new client. He's signing up for a membership in the studio, and he found us on Claude.
Yeah.
He just typed in, like, hey, you know a lot about me, so based off of me, what's the best studio for me? We were the first studio to pop up. He looked at our site, liked us, came in. He did, like 4 or 5 sessions with us, and we've been talking to him about doing membership, and he just signed up for a membership. So, like, for us, it's been a little bit of a priority of, like, because I think it's early, right? Like, people are starting to talk about it, and we both know businesses are very slow to adopt.
Yeah.
So I think the quicker people can adopt this, they're going to win, and they're going to see instant results. And I think over time, just like SEO, if you were one of the first people doing it, you crushed it. But then over time, it became harder and harder because now everybody's doing the same tactics. Everybody's doing the same thing, writing their websites the same way. So I think it's something that businesses need to hop on quickly if they want to get those leads. And like you were saying, once again, I think any leads that we've seen from ChatGPT have closed 100%. Like, nobody's called us from finding us on a search, from like an AI search, and not booked us, which is pretty crazy because our website, surprisingly for us, gets a lot of hits. And like, I didn't realize that. I'm like, what the heck? Like, how do we have so many people looking at our website, which for the longest time was just a placeholder. So I was like, oh crap, we need to like finish the site. I didn't think anybody was looking at it. And there, like, we do get conversion, but I mean, if we look at the numbers of how many people visit our website versus how many people call us and how many people become a client, I mean, it's a tiny percent. Yeah. Which I'm sure that our website probably needs to change and needs to be built more on conversion. We're in this awkward mix of still trying to figure out our voice and like, what is our brand message? We know who we are. We know what we're trying to say, but at the same time on the website, it's like, people finding us on the website are a different client typically than the ones finding us like on social media. Yeah. And so it's like, does our website reflect that? Like the people that are just visiting from out of state, or should it be more aligned with who we service day to day, which are not the out of staters? Yeah. But yeah, it's been, I don't know. I think it's something that businesses need to hop on. Yeah. What would be something like, let's just say there's a company out there, what's something they could do today to make a difference in AI search?
In AI search, going back to really what you're kind of talking about too, can I?
Yeah.
Let me touch on that. Your bread and butter is local, right?
Yeah, I'd say we're probably 60% local, 40%.
Okay. Out of state.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, because we have a lot of people coming for conventions.
Yeah.
And then those typically tend to be slightly bigger clients. Like we just did one and we did it on site. And so it's like a bigger cost. Or if they do come, they're trying to book like 5 sessions because they're in town. They have all their clients here.
Yeah.
So we have a mix, but our priority is focusing on the local. But we do want to show up for.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to build for both. And that's kind of the big thing is if you build AI optimized pages for both, you're going to show up for both. You're going to show up, and I get it that brand, like who am I and what do I do, right? You got to show up for 80% of your clients are going to need X and 20% need the other. And so show up for the 80 because that's going to pay your bills, right?
Yeah.
What was your question again? I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
That's okay.
No, but I mean,
what can a small business do right now to show up in AI search? That was it. Okay. So on the AI search side, what you can do now is look at revamping how you communicate on your website. And it's not about keywords. It's about quality content. Stop using pronouns to describe things. If you read over your website and you're like, what do I do? Then your client doesn't know what you do. That's one of the biggest things that I've seen is so many clients are doing that. And I look over their site and their content and I'm like, you talk about, okay, let's say we're talking about podcasting, right? Your top title says podcasting in Las Vegas. And then throughout your whole topic, you don't mention podcasting once. You refer to it as it or the thing or whatever. You use some type of pronoun. That's not going to work, right? So try to use the keyword that you have as your main one, which is podcasting, and use that throughout. But don't. Google just came out with these new stipulations, and there's a whole link that basically they tell you how to show up, and you just got to follow the rules. I'll get it to you. You can take a look. But yeah, it's about every sentence has value. So look through every sentence. I don't care. You have 1,000 words. Oh, awesome. Doesn't really matter anymore. The quality is what you have to focus on. So look at what you have. See if you're answering what your clients are looking for. And if you are answering the question right, great. If you're not, then look at how you're going to answer it. But we'll say podcasting, look at the who, what, when, where, why. Write something about each one of those. Pick 8 to 10 topics that you're going to talk about. That's going to get you talking about podcasting. Who am I? I don't know the answer to that right now. I can't come up with that off the cuff. But answer those questions. Build out we call it dominate a topic, and go try to dominate the topic of podcasting in Las Vegas could be your keyword, and then build out 10 pages that involve answering those questions. But don't do a listicle. Don't do top 7 reasons to use our podcasting service. Do something that is a little more personal, maybe some type of personal story that you can interlace what you do inside of it, and people are more willing to read it, or at least read the TLDR, which is the too long didn't read or don't read. Put that at the top as well. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the TLDR is now very common in articles. You'll start looking at it and add that at the top. So it's just bullet points of what the article is about, because most people don't want to read the whole article. And so put that at the top as well, and that's going to help you a lot. And, we like to do key takeaways, and we still do FAQs inside of our content. So answer some of those questions, and you will still show up in AI search. So that's just some of the things that we recommend. There's a lot of things that we do on the back end to kind of make it all work, site speed, and kind of we run a web analyzer to kind of see what's going on. And so we've built an AI tool around that. And so it's called ISLA. And so I wanted it to feel like you You could be on the beach or on an island while ISLA's doing the work for you. And so that's kind of what we've been focusing on is ISLA doing a lot of the work and understanding how to do it and making recommendations to you based on AI and AI search and getting you ranked in AI. So it's kind of what we've been working on.
And what types of businesses should be using ISLA?
Small businesses. I love small businesses. I love the solopreneur all the way up to, say, 20, 50 employees. But say you're an office that has, say it's an HVAC company that has 5 employees in the office, and then they've got 15 people out in the field doing the work, right? The 5 people in the office don't have the time to sit there and focus on SEO and paying somebody and knowing that it's working. So what we've done is developed ISLA for them to easily jump on, see what's working. ISLA tells them what's working, what articles are working, what they should do next, and then basically guides them through, and they just have to approve things. And they have to read it over, make sure it's correct, make sure ISLA's not saying something crazy, which doesn't happen very often because we've basically built the right prompts and everything in there. So what content's being generated should be for your business. And then posting it for you on your sites and managing all of the SEO or working on social media. That's a fun one. Trust me. It's the content's great. Getting approved by Facebook and Instagram has been the fun part. And then posting to Google Business Profile and everything that needs to do on that side of things, as well as some of the business management side. But yeah, that's the nice part is that 1 to 20 employee company can use this without having to pay for a full-on agency to do all the work for them. They can have instant results.
That's cool. How long have you been working on that?
About a year. It's been a labor of love and exhaustion. In fact, I think it was up till about 1 a.m. last night, and I've been up till 2, 3 a.m. every day, just kind of plugging along, making sure everything's working. Just launched last week, and we're hoping to kind of grow that. So I'm excited.
From going from working in marketing at different companies to building your own brand, what's been the hardest thing about building your business?
The beginning. You establish everything, and I always find it easy when I jump into a company that's been around for, say, 2 to 5 years, and then all you have to do is turn the dials a little bit. You turn some dials, and you're like, oh, everything, they weren't doing this X, Y, and Z, right? So those are easy. I find the hardest part isn't even the development of it. It's kicking the kickoff part where you're sitting there going, did I build all the right things? Is my campaign going to work? Am I going to get users? Am I going to get viewers? Am I going to get the traffic that I'm expecting? When should I pivot? Those are the kind of the hard things where we're coming up, finding that's the hardest part is when to pivot and in that first initial launch. After you start getting traction, you start to feel comfortable, you start to find what's right, you get feedback from others. You can get feedback along the way, which is extremely important, which you should be doing, but that's from a small segment. Once you release it out to the group as a full campaign, then you kind of got to go, okay, what do I need to tweak? What do I need to change? And is this going to work? And once it starts working, it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is something that's very relatable to other entrepreneurs, right? Like entrepreneurship, you have to be adaptable. Mm-hmm. Like there's that saying, like, if you don't adapt, you die. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's true with business. We have a mutual friend, Kenny, he's pivoted, I think 7 or 8 times on his app to get it to where it is, and I've worked with business owners for 21 years, and I've seen so many that go into business thinking this is how I'm going to do things, and it's not working, but they still stick that way, and then the business fails. When we opened up the studio, I went in with the idea of like, okay, like I know what I want to build, but like, what do we need to build?
Yeah.
Right. Like, what does our community that naturally comes to us need from us? What do we need to become? And it was a bit different than what I thought we were going to be. I thought we were going to be a lot more hands off from our clients. I thought we'd be more just cameras, lights, and well, not, but the people that were coming to us needed more help. They needed more guidance. And so we quickly adapted and started going, okay, well, we can do this. We can help you with this. We need to learn these things now because, like, we're not podcasters.
Yeah.
I'm not a content creator. I'm not a podcaster. We do this because we have the studio and we should be doing it. And it's good for business.
It is.
And it's just, like, for me, it's a good way to meet people and network with them, hear their stories, because I don't like going to networking events. I don't like attending those things. I don't have time. Yeah. My kid plays hockey. You know how that is?
Yeah.
We both have goalies too.
Yes.
You know, we have it's the most stressful. It's the everything, you know. And once again, congrats to your kid for making Gorman.
Thanks.
That's exciting.
Oh, it's very exciting. And your kid made Storm for AA, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. He'll be doing that. Next year, he'll actually go play in Boston.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we signed in October for that team. So we were going to go back to VGK, but he has more fun at Storm. The organization's treated him better. And I called this school that's been, like, kind of scouting him for a while. And I was like, hey, you keep saying he has a spot.
Yeah.
Does he next year? Like, for sure. They're like, oh, we'll take him now. And I was like, wow. Well, we're not going now, but okay, I don't need VGK for next season because, you know, my son's not going to Gorman, so he can't go play Gorman. It's that awkward time where if you're at Storm, it ends after 14U. So,
well, I'm hoping they fix that. I'm hoping that once they build this new rink at Gorman, that they will fix it and they'll be able to have Storm 16U and an 18U team as well.
I think they will. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
With going back to entrepreneurship now, I can talk about goalie stuff all day.
All day long. All day long. Don't get me started.
But for you, you know, building your marketing firm and now launching ISLA as well, do you ever feel scared, alone, and how do you overcome those doubts and fears?
Oh man, scared, alone. I'm never. I'm pretty unshakable, to be honest, for a lot of things. I'm not really scared. I guess the only thing I get nervous when it comes to, again, right now I'm launching, so I'm very nervous as to things coming in. As for scared and how I handle that, I just keep going forward. And there's nothing else you can do. You can't give up. Giving up is not an option. It's you just keep plugging along and you keep going forward and you keep trying to tweak things and make it right on the way it needs to be, and you pivot. How I handle that, often there will be times, you know, all right, got to go take a walk. I got to go work out. I got to go do something physical outside of sitting here thinking about this. And that's kind of where also your idea comes from of how to fix whatever's going on in your brain, right? Is I go out and I do something different. And then that in the back of my head, I'm always thinking about it. As an entrepreneur, you're always thinking about your business. My wife said, all we talk about is business and hockey. I'm like, well, maybe you should start the conversation then, because that's all I know these days is business and hockey. And so, yeah, basically you just kind of gotta, also you gotta vent. You gotta have a person to vent to, and a person to vent to, or a place to vent to, or a way to vent out any stress or frustrations that you might have. And then that helps me at least. I can't keep it all bottled up. And I don't, if you know my wife, you would know that she would also say she's pretty calm and cool. And even when she's ready to give up, I'm like, no, we're not giving up. We're keep going. Let's go. So I don't know. That's how I kind of do it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but.
No, definitely. I mean, I'm in a similar boat where it's like I mean, I always kind of tell my sons the same thing, right? Like, where it's like, you can either let what's happening, the stresses, make you a victim and sit down and let everything else pass you by and give up. Yeah. Right? Like, you can let not making that team be a reason to be sad and give up and not push harder. Mm-hmm. Or you just use it to keep pushing forward and keep working, keep growing. Yeah. Right? Because life is going to continue on without you. Hockey's going to continue on without you. Teams continue on without you. You know, the game continues on, like going back to like being goalie parents, right? Like one thing I taught my son very early on was like, you can't show emotion in the net, right? And being a goalie is one of the hardest positions. And you know, like we'll play against other teams, and I'm always on the bench. You know, I always bring my camera just for an excuse to be on the bench.
Yeah.
And so I shoot pictures of the kids, and then when my son's playing, I only film him.
Yeah.
And we were playing this team. I remember we got one goal in, and it was like we were fighting hard, like very even match.
Mm-hmm.
We let one goal in, and that goalie just wore his emotions on his sleeve. Right, slaps his stick, head down. I look at the team and I tell the boys, I'm like, we won.
Yeah.
I was like, literally just shoot. He's not stopping another puck. He's already given up.
Yeah.
And I think as an entrepreneur, it's the same way, right? Like we have to take our hits, and if we get scored on, we have to keep going, and we have to look strong, because if we look down, right, if we're getting all mopey and sad about whatever, or too stressed out, our clients see that, right? The world sees that. Our competitors see that. And then they know they can win. They can beat us.
Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things where you have to kind of figure out. And I think finding that group to be able to talk with is important. Like, you know, I don't necessarily have that. We started a little group here in the studio, and it's been a while. I need to get it going again. It's just it's basically like an entrepreneur AA meeting.
Oh, good.
Right? We just invite people to get together, and it's like, all right, what's on your mind? Like, what are you struggling with right now? And then like the collective, we kind of get together and we chat about those things, and just like there's no pitches, there's no business cards. It's just a group of tailored individuals hanging out.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. That was actually really helpful. You know, I have my wife who's supportive, that I can go to her if I need to, and chat with her about like, hey, you know, walk through these ideas of like, these things are stressing me. Or one of our clients, actually, we just had a 3-hour meeting with her last night because she's struggling with her business, and she's like, you know, I don't know where to turn. I was like, well, come by, let's talk through things together. And I think finding that circle is important. And that's kind of the goal at the end of the day of this podcast, besides trying to meet people, is to talk about entrepreneurship, is to talk about the ups and downs, because I feel like social media paints it in such a way that like everybody's winning but you.
Yes.
Everybody's killing it but you. Everybody's happy but you. Nobody's stressed but you.
But you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
it's easy.
Oh,
it's so easy, right? Just buy a laundromat. Yes.
Oh yeah. Or like I made all this money in my sleep, or this and that. It's like, oh, I'm like, I don't even sleep.
Yeah.
I live at the studio.
I bet. You have a cotton bag?
Especially at the beginning. I sleep on the couch back there. You know, like, and I think that's something that when people first start a business, if they've never built one, even myself, like doing my business for like 18 years, I was like, told my wife, I was like, oh, give me 6 months to build this. And then I'll never work again.
Yes.
And 6 months later, I was like, give me 3 years, all right? Like, I'm not going to be home much. I'm going to live here. I'm like, this is a lot, especially like a brick and mortar. Like, it's just, this is such a different ballgame than what I was doing before. So I had a question submitted. I did a quick little post before we filmed, because you guys do ads as well, right? I know we didn't really talk about ads as much. But Chloe, she's a photographer here in town that we know. She asked a question. She said, Google Ads, where do you start? It looks so easy, but does paying per click really help generate leads? Does the speaker, or do you assist with Google Ads or teach how to use it?
Yeah, so I assist with Google Ads. Google Ads is a funny one. It's easy to start up. It's also easy to waste a lot of money. Burn through money fast. If you want to burn through money fast, start Google Ads. Google Ads usually takes about 3 months of burning through cash. Not burning. We get traffic up front. We get a lot of. I'll give you the cycle. The cycle is basically if she starts up Google Ads today, and she kind of gets started. If she wants to do it herself, she's a photographer. The photography one is going to be interesting. If I were her, I would probably avoid Google Ads first, if she hasn't exhausted like social media ads.
Yeah.
I never push people towards social media ads except in the creative world. Photographers, things like that. Those guys got to exhaust that first. You're going to get a cheaper lead. You're going to spend less money to get to that lead, but you are going to get some junk leads. When it comes to Google Ads, you got to make sure you're reaching that intent. You got to make sure you're able to hang on for a good 3 months before things start getting really more smooth. At first, you're going to get really good leads in the first few weeks, and they'll be good for a while, and then they kind of fall off and dip. And then at about the 2-3 month range, they start to get more 3 month range. They start to get a lot better. That's been pretty standard. And otherwise, you're just kind of wasting money with them. There's some different things that we do to make it so it's better, so you're not just wasting all that money. And we know how to ramp up the budget and ramp up the campaigns so that you're not wasting that money. So that's what I would recommend. As a photographer, I would not, unless she's already exhausted Facebook and social media, I wouldn't do Google Ads at first.
Yeah, well, and along those lines, like I kind of agree with that. With like, I think using Meta to create ads as a photographer is actually very easy.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is like with her, maybe she's not getting success with it, and it's going to come down to a couple things. One, your targeting is horrible,
Yes,
and off, and I think a lot of people just do like the boosted post versus going in and actually developing and like creating that target market. And I mean, Meta's constantly changing. I remember back in the day, I could say I want a widowed. She's been married 3 times. She makes $123,000 a year and 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
She has 6.5 kids.
Yeah,
And she has 1 leg.
Yep.
And we could find that, one person. That was crazy what you used to be able to do. Now it's obviously a lot more generalized, but you can still tailor it down. But then the other thing is just the creative. Like if your message isn't good and your ad isn't good, I don't care how much money you put in. Like if the messaging isn't there, and I think people who try to do ads that aren't marketing experts, that don't know anything about messaging and branding, don't know how to tell that story, I think that's why they always think that ads don't work, because they don't know how to get the right message out there.
Yeah. They look like everybody else.
Yeah.
Right? It looks like everybody else. It's not unique. It's not interesting. It's not reaching what that person is looking for. And that's what we do with Google Ads, is we make sure we're targeting the messaging so that's what the person is looking for. Doing the keyword research on the Google Ads side, we do the keyword research. We find the best audience to hit and the best intent that they're for what they're trying to reach. And so all that work that we put into it ahead of time helps prevent from you just saying, "Yeah, I want to start Google Ads." And here's my pictures, here's my stuff, go. That wastes money. And so spending more time up front, making sure your messaging is right, making sure you're hitting the right intent. If you don't know how to do all that, give me a call. I'll help you out. When it comes to photography, again, if she's exhausted social, then we can have that conversation. But at the same time, I would look at social and see what she's doing, not doing right.
Yeah, and my guess would be she just is doing a boosted post, and it's not an ad meant to convert, and that's where, once again, most people get it wrong. And like even when we do them, I'll do boosted posts or like put money behind a post, just because for me it's just I look at it as this is exposure, not an ad, right? If I get people messaging me, cool, but the goal wasn't to get messages, it was just to get our face seen more. And then I'll have like a direct ad that we'll use. Back in the day, like when I used to do more family photos, I was actually talking to my wife about this the other day, because she's starting to get into photography, looking for ways to like, make money and have her own thing. And she's always kind of been into that. I was like, well, I know a good teacher. I've done it for 21 years. Yeah. So she's starting now, and we were talking about family photos. I was like, that was like the easiest thing to run ads for, because I would spend the way I always ran ads on like Meta was whatever I was charging for one person is what I'll put behind the ad. So like I'm doing a mini session, I'm charging $200 a mini session. I'll spend $200 on the ad. And if I can get one, I break even, I learn from it, and try to adjust later. But I would always put the $200, and we'd offer 15 spots for $200 each. And I'd sell out by the time we're at like $50 or $60 in ad spend. Wow. But I understood messaging, because it's what I've been doing. It's the world I'm in. And I think, once again, most photographers, like, she's good at her craft, but she doesn't know how to do the branding and messaging. Yeah. And that's where she needs to go to someone like you to get the help, so that way the ads actually convert, because her work's good. And for her ticket's much higher. Her average client, I was talking to her the other day, they're spending $1,500 to $2,500 with her on a maternity session. A maternity? Or on newborns, right? Because she does the books, she does the prints. And so for her, like, in my opinion on that, I'm like, you have a lot more money to spend on an ad then for it to make sense. And that will go even further, because the more you have to spend. I have a question for you. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but does spending more money mean you get more results? Because I've had experiences in the past. I started like a dog waste removal company with my brother-in-law. And I found something interesting while I was doing that ads for that when we were first starting, is I'd put like $50 behind an ad, and let's just say we'd get 15 leads and 3 would close, right? So then I was like, all right, cool, let's put 500 behind this same ad. But then by the end of it, I got 15 leads and 3 would close again. Like, and I don't know if I just did something wrong or if that's common. Like, I honestly don't know, because I'm not a specialist in that world at all.
So it's funny you mentioned dog waste removal. I have a client that is a dog waste removal company. I built their logo, I built their website, original one, and he's now gone in and bought up another company. Is doing quite well for himself. And the more you spend doesn't mean the more you're going to get. You may have hit a really good target market of where you got 15 and 3. Your ad is going to serve more to more people. That doesn't mean it's always going to convert more. Google does actually tell you, hey, if you put this much more money in, you're going to get potentially this many more leads. And often it'll be like, you're spending $500 a month, spend $670, you're going to get 2 more leads. And I'm like, 2 more leads? That doesn't make any sense. Like that, it's going to cost me another, it's way too much cost per lead. So it's funny you mentioned that. But it doesn't always mean the more you spend, the more you're going to make. You have to really look at your customer acquisition costs, and that's what I wanted to touch on when you were talking here a second ago. Is how much does it cost me? You said $200. I get a $200 session. I'm willing to spend $200. If I get one, great. I paid for itself, right? So, and then you were talking about her having a maternity where it's $1,500, $2,000, right? So, her customer acquisition cost. Her cost is not to sound bad, but it's really not a lot. It's her time. It's her time and her effort in editing, right? There's a whole cost in that. So she could spend $1,000, make $1,000, and she'd probably be decently happy, right? But that's not ideal. Like, she's got to look at, I'm willing to spend $100 to make $1,500, and then decide from there on how if the ads are working for her or not. So the customer acquisition cost is probably the most important KPI that you have to look at when you're deciding what you're going to do. And so it should be about 10%, 10 to 20% of your actual cost is actually the customer acquisition cost. And that's not lead. That's not a lead. That's a closed sale. So if it's $2,500 for her session, and she spent $250 to get them, that's 10%. That's really good, actually. So if that's what it is, don't be afraid to spend a little bit more. But if you're spending $15 and you're getting 15 leads and 3 closed sales, and now you spend $500, something's wrong with your ads. Maybe you need to broadcast it across different setups. Maybe you need to do more display ads. I don't usually do a lot of display, but what you were talking about with the social media stuff is where you're like, I'm going to boost a post. Well, that's like putting up display ads. That's like putting up a billboard, right? That's what I kind of compare it to. Where if you're building ads in Facebook or you're building it in the Meta backend, Meta Ads Manager, Facebook Ads Manager, whichever you want to call it, and Google Ads, that's like really spending and targeting a specific person and the target audience you're looking for. More of a I'm going to date myself, Yellow Pages type setup, where you're showing up when the people are searching for it, where that display is your boosted post, where you're just like, I don't really care. I just want people to know who I am. And but your customer acquisition cost is the key when it comes to ads. And so don't be afraid if you're spending $2,500, if you're getting $2,500, don't be afraid to spend $250 to $500 to get a closed sale. You're going to make it back. That's what I would recommend.
No, I love it. I mean, like I said, I'm more like if I'm going to make $2,500 off of the one client, I'll spend up to $2,500. Let's try it. Let's figure it out. And then obviously I want to get that down and down and down. And typically I do. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm not an expert in ads. Google, I know almost nothing in ads. Yeah. I remember I looked at it the other day and I was like, yeah, I'm good. We'll go back over here. Yeah. Let's go back to Instagram. I know how to do that space a little bit better. But even then, like, there's so many ways you can run funnels, and there's so many different options and lead gen opportunities there. And for me, I always just keep things super basic. I'm like, here's a video with a message that should connect to these people. Let's pick their demographic.
Yeah.
Put some money behind it. All right, cool. Is they reaching out to us? And that is a number I think is really important. We at the studio need to start trying to figure out that number a little bit better about what is our CAC, because I don't even know. Like, we're just literally, we run blind half the time. We're so small, right? Like, it's me, we got Gabe, and then we got a couple guys that help us out here and there, and we're just running blind all the time, and then trying different things, to see what makes sense for us. And in my meeting yesterday, that was one of the things I was telling her. I was like, let's look at what has worked for you. For her, I mean, because she was asking about running ads actually as a social media company. And I told her, I was like, I don't love ads on Instagram for what you do. I was like, now maybe I always got it wrong, but for my video production company, it didn't matter how much money I spent. I'm charging $5,000, $10,000. People aren't hiring me from an ad on Instagram. Like, that it was a different route. Whereas like the lower cost, like in the studio, our entry fee is pretty low, and so it works a little bit better. Or like the dog waste removal, it's $70 a month or whatever. That's an easy, and it's to a consumer, which is quite a bit different. For her, I was telling her, I was like, I don't love that, but let's look at what's working for you already. For her, podcasting has been a really big asset. Good. She's done 3 interviews with 3 potential clients and closed 3 of them. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So you just did like $8,000 more a month with 3 episodes. Let's do more of those. And we do a lot with her. So like, it's not even like a pitch to do more work with us. And then we helped her throw an event here in the studio. And she threw one event, took a client from 1,000 to 3,500 that same night. Wow. Because they were like, I didn't realize how smart you were and how good you were at what you do. And so I think oftentimes too, like, once again, I think businesses sometimes just constantly try to like, well, this is working for this person. Like, I don't know, I'm a big fan of taking a step back and going like, what's working for us? Let's try these other things, but like let's figure out what's working for us. And we're still trying to figure that out. We don't really know what's working for us. I think we're our own worst client.
Yeah. You have to figure that out. I went in and interviewed for Cashman Photo and interviewed just for helping with the website. This was years ago. Have you heard of Cashman Photo? Yeah. Yeah, so they take all the pictures at all the events, right? 900-person company. I walked in. I'm 27 at the time. I'm still a little green, right, to things, and I think I can rule the world. And I sit down with them, and I started asking the basic marketing questions. And I'm sitting with the CEO, the COO, the head of photography, all the big wigs at the company, and they can't answer the questions. So you being this small and you can't answer the questions, you'll be okay. Yeah. You'll figure it out. Because they couldn't. So at the time, I was like, you don't need a website. I walked out of the meeting, I'm like, you don't need a website. You need a marketing person. And I wasn't ready at the time. I was 27. I was still didn't feel comfortable in my own skin enough to take on that position. So I gave it to a friend, and he worked there for 10, 15 years and really helped grow the business. And so, but it's just funny because we all think we don't know, but we just got to be a little more confident, and we got to sit down and figure out what it is we don't know and really focus on fixing the things that are going to get us the business we do and focus on that. Photography or, podcasting. If I'm a photographer, I'm going to do podcasting. I'm going to do, my friends actually are doing a podcast. They own a photography business in Texas. They do real estate photography. So they're doing really well with their podcasting there. And then, but that personalization on the photographer side, she's got to be out on mommy groups. She's got to be in that world. And right? That's
what we just talked to her about doing as well. Because we brought her in on an episode, and as soon as we were done, she was like, oh my gosh, like, I need to do this. I've tried 2 other studios. And I was like, well, we're a little bit different because we care about you. So let's talk about, like, why should you do this, what you should do. I was like, I don't even want you talking about photography. We're talking about being a mom. Yeah. You're going to bring on the mom influencers. You're going to reach out to mom groups. You're going to bring those people in here. We're going to bring on the yoga people that do these pregnant mom yoga classes. Like, you're using this just to meet people. Because for us, podcasting, yes, it's a marketing channel and it creates content for marketing. But for us, it's really a relationship tool. It allows us to get meeting with people that maybe we couldn't normally get a meeting with. It allows us to open doors to new relationships and see if it's a good fit for us to walk in through, right? See if we're invited into that area, if it's somebody we even want to walk into that door, versus spending all this time at, like I said, networking events, like not my favorite thing. And it's, when you look at it that way, you can look at podcasting a little bit differently and don't view it as a marketing channel. Although, once again, it's good for marketing. It's good for SEO. It's good for AEO. It's good to take it, throw it into ChatGPT or a Claude, and let it write you a blog post from your episode. It's good in a newsletter. Like, it really is a good marketing asset. So I always downplay that side, but I'm like, this is really good. But when you can use it to connect with people, especially in such a digital age with AI, I think the quality time you get with people is more valuable than anything else. And when, especially when you're a service-based business, the more you build relationships, the bigger you grow, I feel.
Yeah. And you talk about building the relationship. I started doing a lot of video myself, and I only did it for a little while. And I just ran out of time, right? Or you just didn't focus on it. It's really what you're doing. You can't say I don't have enough time. You really have enough time for anything you want to focus on and anything you want to have success with. So I just didn't put in the time for it. But I'll say this. I started putting out videos of myself, and people felt related back to me, right? I may not be connecting with them, but they're feeling relation back to me and feeling comfortable with me. So they're going to call me. I got like 3 or 4 clients off of like 5 videos I put out there on my Instagram. And people I'd been kind of chasing for years started chasing me. And then I stopped, and I was like, why did I stop? Like, you got to keep going. And again, like you said, we're our own worst marketers of ourselves.
Yeah.
So now that I have ISLA, I'm like, I gotta get back on this track. So I'm really happy I'm here. I love the studio. This is great.
Yeah.
I want to come here multiple times. I just want to hang out and work here and do some stuff because I think it's a cool spot. Yeah, you mentioned, renting out space. I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. Like $100 a few $100 a month. All right, what do I do? Show up, and you're a little far from me, but that's about it. But yeah, I think the connection is when you put yourself out there in these things and in these podcasts and in these videos, you are building that connection. You're just building it. They're building it with you. You're not building it with them, but they're still going to come by from you because they feel connected.
There's a podcast I watch. I used to watch it a lot more. It's about skateboarding. It's called The 9 Club. And they were new to podcasting. I think I started watching it at like episode 5. And now, they've been doing it for like 7 years or something now.
Wow.
And that's what they do full time. They were pro skateboarders. They don't even skate pro anymore.
Oh, nice.
Because of the podcast. Like, it does very well. And it was funny, like early on, like let's just say episode like 20, and they always talk about like, it's so weird. Like, I'll be in the streets and we'll have people coming up and be like, "Hey, Chris, how's it going, man?" Oh, and they think that we're best friends.
Yeah.
There's an interesting stat that you only need to spend 7 hours with somebody to feel like they're your like best close friend.
Wow.
And so when you have a podcast or you're putting out video content, the more you're showing up in their face, they're spending time with you. And they get to know you. They get to know your personalities, even though you've never met them. And it is interesting because, like, we'll meet people at events, and they'll be like, "Oh, hey, Trevon, how's it going?" Like, talking to me like I know them. I'm like, "Hey." They're like, "Oh, dude, like, your son." I'm like, "Cool. Like, who are you?" And so it's an interesting thing, like, how people can feel so connected to you online. And that's where, like, actually podcasting just in general, like a little background on me, like why we got into this is when I saw the value of that, I was like, that's interesting. Like, I remember when the first video podcasts like 10-ish years ago were coming out, and I was like, like on a business standpoint, this is really interesting because it allows us to create content, but also allows us to be more just us. And if people watch this and they like us, they're going to work with us, and it will actually send people away that don't like us. If they're like, "Oh, he's too ugly, he's too sarcastic, he's not this," perfect. Like, I don't want you wasting my time. Like, in the studio, like, we have like a culture here. Like, we want certain types of people in the studio that can add to that culture of giving, of caring about other entrepreneurs, right? Like, we don't need people that are just constantly taking. And so it's an interesting tool set that allows you to connect with people online and find like your people. We need to be much better about it. We're horrible about it. We're trying to be better. We're taking this podcast more seriously now and posting it more consistently. We have a bunch of episodes we shot in the past that need to get uploaded now. So we're getting those done, and it'll be interesting to watch how that also changes the business and changes kind of like who we work with and why we work with them. But we've met cool people. I mean, have you heard of Caleb Ralston?
No.
He's in the marketing and branding space. He actually did all the branding and videos and marketing for Gary Vee.
Oh.
And then Alex Hormozy hired him, so then he did it all for Alex Hormozy.
Okay.
He recently left, started his own company.
Okay.
He lives here in town.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
His second video ever on YouTube did over 1 million views in less than a week, and it's 6 hours long.
6 hours?
It's a branding course.
Oh, okay.
And so, but it's a free course, and they filmed 21 hours and they cut it down to 6, and did over 1 million views. Like, he's been blowing up on social media in the world of like marketing and stuff. Yeah. With us having this podcast, right? Yeah. Because I don't consider us podcasters, but we were able to reach out to him, somebody who's blowing up, and he came on our podcast.
Oh, very cool.
And then somebody else brought him on a podcast, so he came back to the studio. And super nice guy, incredibly nice, very well spoken, like super interesting. Love his content, and him and Trevor, who's part of his team. But because we brought him on, I think we're the only studio to do that, and we interviewed him. And it's not like he needs to come on our page, right? But he's just doing it because he wants to give back to little people. Because like, there's a form you fill out, and I put less than 10 followers. I was like, he's never going to respond. But they came on, and now he films in our studio.
Oh, wow.
And they're videographers. Like he has a full-time videographer that helps him run everything. And he's done it for Gary Vee, done it for Alex Hormozy. And they're like, well, it's just easier to come here. Yeah. And so having a podcast allowed us to meet this individual who's blowing up online and give us access to somebody we would never have access to. If I DM'd him, I'd probably never get a response because his DMs are probably blowing up all the time. Yeah. But it's been an interesting tool to be able to meet people, create opportunities, get clients. I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. I'm trying to take it more serious, and I don't know. We might change the name from Built in Vegas. Let me get your opinion on this. You're a marketing guy, a branding guy. Yeah. We have mixed reviews, so it's okay. If you hate it, it's okay. Okay. I'm thinking about changing the name. Right now it's called Built in Vegas because it's really like an SEO, like bringing Vegas entrepreneurs, let's meet them. Right. But for me, I like talking about entrepreneurship and the ups and downs, the loneliness, kind of like what we talked about a little bit, and make it a resource for entrepreneurs. I want to call it MEH.
MEH?
Yeah, just MEH, period. It stands for My Endless Hours, like entrepreneurship. Okay. But it just, like, I don't know, like, you ever talk to, like, someone who owns a business, like, hey, man, how's the business going? Like, meh. Yeah. It's like, you know. I have mixed reviews. I have some people who love it, and they're typically like a lot younger that love it. And then my clients that are really successful are like, it's too depressing.
It's kind of meh.
Yeah.
It is kind of meh. Because meh is, we don't want to be negative, but we have nothing positive to say. So we're just meh, right? So I don't know. I'm not in love with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we're changing. I got more negative reviews from people I trust and that have like built things big that like they're all like, no. I'm like, okay. I just think about merch too because, you know, we're going to blow up and get really famous from this, you know? So I think about
super famous.
Meh, just on a shirt or like on a hat is cooler.
It is cooler. It is cooler. I think it is very much more the younger brand. Yeah. Yeah. It's not I don't know.
Yeah. So, all right. We're not changing, guys. You guys heard it. No. Let us know in the comments. Nobody's watching this anyways, but it's okay. Actually, we're getting more views.
Are we?
We got a comment on a video recently. Someone's like, I can't believe I found this video at under like 50 views. And I was like, I can't believe you watched it or commented on it. Thanks. Like, it's been good. We're focused more just on YouTube right now. Yeah. I should be putting it on Spotify and Apple. I know that, but once again, I'm my worst client. We do it for our clients. We don't do it for us.
Of course.
But YouTube's kind of where we're more focused on and figuring out, like, for me too, this is an experiment of like, what should our clients be doing? What's working? Mm-hmm. You know, like the reason why we start too is like, I have to experience all the awkwardness and stuff because all of our clients are brand new. None of our clients are podcasters. Yeah. we have like 2 clients that actually podcast for a living.
Okay.
But 99% of our clients are just entrepreneurs going, we need to create content. We need to build relationships. Let's try a podcast and see. So I'm like, let's try this out and figure and understand how it works too.
Well, like a podcaster is going to have their own setup, right? In their own place, typically.
Some do, some don't. So we work with a guy named Travis. He has a podcast. If he's doing like a virtual call, he has his own setup. But I mean, he's literally interviewed Shaq. He's interviewed that FBI negotiator. He's interviewed, Donald Miller from StoryBrand.
Yeah.
So he's interviewed him. Like he interviews he has a big podcast. Like I don't know what he makes a month, but it's a big podcast.
Yeah.
And so certain guests, he'll go to different studios, and he just did a podcast. I think it was Shaq, Alex Hermosi, him, and 2 other people. He also interviewed some of the Impractical Jokers guys.
What's the name of the podcast?
It's called Travis Makes Friends.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
I've
Travis Makes Money as well. He has 2 different ones. And so he'll use our studio occasionally, like a couple times a month for podcasts. But then I see him film like solo content in his own place. And then also we get podcasters from out of state coming in and using the space. And so it's been, I don't know, we meet a lot of interesting people. And it's crazy. Like we have a client that does MMA podcast.
Oh, really?
And then they showed up and I'm like, wait, I know who this is.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we don't post a lot about like famous people we get in here, but like, yeah, we get them in and it's cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have one guy I'm going to kind of poke at to see if he's interested and let him know. He's a local guy, big podcaster. He's in the Hermosi level of income level. But he's made a ton in podcasting and he has multiple podcasts, and I'd wonder if he would ever just need an extra space.
Yeah.
He does a lot of out of his house. He has his own setup in a room and everything, and he has this very nice Shelby in the background.
That's cool.
So it's pretty sweet. My father-in-law and him are actually good friends. I've hung out with him one time. He's a super nice guy. And the cheapest, very, very cheap guy. Very, yeah. But that's why he's worth the money.
That's what I was going to say. I feel like most of the successful people I know, they're not outlandish with what they spend.
No.
There's a guy I worked with him for years. He just started podcasting in the studio for his school he bought, and we're going to get him to start a personal one soon. But his watch is worth a lot, but he's not showing up in a Ferrari or not Ferrari, like a Lambo. He's not showing up in he's not overdone. You would just never know. If you saw him in the street, you'd be like, oh, it's a nice looking guy. Yeah. But he's
But his watch is $50,000. Say it's $50,000. He could probably go sell it for $75,000, right? Yeah. He's one of those with the people that I've met that are on that level. Everybody I've met at that level, there's the BMW drivers, right? The BMW drivers are all of us just still trying to make it. And then there's that level up there. Yeah. And those guys all buy something that they can turn around and make more money on later.
He buys planes,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I buy cars. Yeah. He buys planes.
Planes.
Multiple planes.
Yes. Well,
and he's got his license, so he flies them. So he has his personal ones that he flies, and then he buys planes for taxes and then rents them out and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's an interesting world. I remember I went up in the plane, and I got to fly it for a little bit, and I was like, I never knew I wanted this. Yeah. I was looking at all the little car dwellers down. And I was just like, you guys have to stop at stoplights. I got the open sky. I was like, nice. I've never wanted anything for my life until that moment. I was like, I want to learn how to fly and I want to be able to buy a plane. So that's my goal, build my business so I can go buy a plane one day.
Yeah.
And then fly myself. And I have to get a Cirrus, though, because they have the parachutes in the plane.
Oh, okay.
And I just assume I'll be bad at this because I only flew for a little bit. I was with the guy who owns the school. And he's like, all right, pull up. So I, helped take it off. He's like, all right, now just fly straight for a little bit. And I went for 20 seconds. He's like, that's not straight at all. And I was like, oh, okay. But it was cool. Yeah, that's the goal for me one day.
That's awesome.
I want to learn how to fly and then buy just a small little 4-seater.
They're not actually that much money, honestly. I saw to house the plane is going to cost you more than the plane
and the maintenance.
Yeah, the maintenance in the where you're sitting the plane. costs you more than the cost of the plane every month.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to somebody, I know someone who flies, and he's done pretty well for himself, but he's not crazy rich. He owns like a small plane, and he said I spend more, like $800 a month, in just housing the plane, but I think my payment on my plane's only like $250 because the way the loans work. Don't buy a helicopter. That's even more. That's like $350K. I think you can get a smaller plane for like $100. So,
Yeah.
And on a 30, I don't know how long the things are, but you can get it pretty cheap per month.
Yeah.
So
That's cool. I'll have to get the nicer one though, because I need the parachute.
just bring your own bag,
Yeah.
right? Wrap your own parachute,
exactly.
put it in the back. Well, once you stop spending money on hockey for your kid,
Oh, seriously.
you can afford that plane.
Yeah, and I told my son that. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, if I wasn't paying for this, I was like, I could go to pilot school.
Uh-huh.
We'd go to All In Aviation. They're one of our clients. So I was like, they're more expensive, but I trust them. They have nice planes there. They're not the rickety old planes. My clients' planes are there, and they use
Nice.
them. And I'm like, I'd go there. I'd learn that. I was like, I'd probably buy a plane, buy more rental properties. And I'm like, I'd probably be retired by now.
Yeah.
Not really, but I'd probably be there.
Probably pretty close.
Yeah.
My friend actually does the real estate photography, but she does planes as well. So she just took a picture of a $12.8 million plane the other day. And she said it was fun. It was a really interesting concept. And I never thought of that as actually a job.
Yeah.
Like, you want to get your plane. There's a guy out there, and I follow him. He cleans planes. Have you seen him?
I know who he is.
Okay.
My buddy just started a plane cleaning business.
Okay. So he's like cleaning. His goal is to buy a plane. Clean enough planes that he can go buy a plane. And he's making a lot per plane cleaning. Not bad.
Yeah.
I think we're in the wrong business.
I know. I feel that way every day. Whenever I meet people, I'm like, what do you do? I'm in the wrong industry.
I've met families that they're in the cleaning business, and the guy had the contract for years. I don't know if they're still in that. I don't know what he's doing. He's older. They clean the bus stops, and they live in a very nice house in a very nice part of Summerlin, and live a pretty nice life. I'm like, they clean bus things. I'm like, we're kind of the artsy communication people where we just want something more fun and interesting. But the money's in cleaning bus stops. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, we have a guy, he's from New York. He comes to the studio twice a year-ish. And then they'll like rent out this room actually for the whole day. And then they get people in, and he has a podcast called Boring Money.
Okay.
And it's just interviewing people that have really boring companies but do well.
Yeah.
And then he also it's more like a consulting type show. He consults them. He gives them ideas on how to grow the business because he sells the air vent filters.
Oh, okay. Huh.
And he's worth like $400 million.
Yeah. I've told my son, I'm like, listen, my son's not, I have a 19-year-old. I'm like, listen, go pressure wash driveways, go do window washing, go clean solar panels. I'm like, you will build $1 million business in like 2 years doing just those things. On that side of things you're talking about with the filters, I saw those guys come into any office I've been in, and it's print money. You go in, you swap it out every month. I'm like, go do the filter thing, and then go clean their windows too. And then go find anything else you can do to help them on their property and sell them that service. And then you're going to make a ton of money just doing that. He's 19. I'm like, you got nothing but time.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have a mortgage, still lives at home, right? I'm like, go.
Yeah.
Flourish.
My 13-year-old just went door to door and offered to clean trash cans after trash day.
There you go.
And so he did it. He ended up getting like 10 different homes. He made $400.
Beautiful.
He worked for like 5 hours.
Amazing.
And then, and he did a good job. He brought trash bags with him to clean out all the junk that was left over, made sure not to leave a mess. And I told him afterwards, I was like, look, one thing you should do, I was like, because a lot of kids do this. Mm-hmm. So something to make you stand out is like, go write a handwritten letter and just say, thank you for letting me do this.
Yes.
And thank you for trusting me. I was like, and then next time you do it, ask them if they want you to bring the trash cans in. Mm-hmm. And then bring those inside for them, because that's, nobody wants to bring the trash cans in. So if you offer to do it, as long as their gate's like not padlocked, like you should be able to reach your arm around, open it up, put it away for them. those tiny little things that you do in business make a big difference.
Yeah.
It's one thing that we try to remember in the studio too, like with our business, it's like, yes, they're coming for this product, right? They're coming for the cameras, the lights, the video, the conversation. But there's a lot of little things that we can do by having multiple drink options. Like people get pumped on that when we go through the list of what we have. They're like, oh, that's a lot of options. Actually, oh, I love Alani's, or I love Poppy, or I love, San Pellegrino, right? And so having all those little things or just those little moments, I think, in business are important to understand the customer experience and where can we make it just a little bit better so we stand out against the competition.
Definitely. That is huge. If you can also anticipate their need and fulfill their need before they ask for it, that'll get you really far in business and in life in general, and make friends and influence others. Yeah, no, that'd be great. That'd be a great thing to do.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Beau, thank you for coming in.
Yeah. Thank you.
Where can people find out more information about you and your marketing company?
Yeah. So I have highlightmarketing.com. I named it Highlight. It's HILYTE marketing.com. You can learn more about me there. And then I do have the couple new apps that I've launched. My original thing was highlight.me. And that's, you can check that one out. And then I did just launch meetisla.com. And that's going to be for the small business. Both of them are targeted at small businesses, solopreneurs, and trying to help them market themselves. And I always struggled with going up. I'd go meet with people, and it'd be like a guy who does one thing. And I'm like, listen, you couldn't afford my services, right? So how can I help him? And so that's why I built ISLA, I built the things in that I can help the solopreneur to grow their business without paying the high, agency fees, because they can't afford it. It'll kill your business. So that's why I built ISLA, and then also why I built Highlight.me. And so, yeah, check them both out. I'd love to chat with anybody about it. I'm so excited about it. I want to join your group, your entrepreneur group, just to talk about it and see what everybody thinks. And as entrepreneurs, we do it so we can provide for a decent life, but we also do it because we love it. And that's more of what I'm looking at, is how can I help others grow their business, and also I love helping us all grow, and that's why I'm here too. So it's really fun. Thanks.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.